Thank you so much. Pay like $1 million. Shout out TMZ. You up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on. I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. Babcock here. The New York Giants have fired their head coach, Brian Daboll. I don't know if it's shocking news, but the fourth-year NFL head coach after the New York Giants once again blow a double-digit fourth-quarter lead. They said no more, and Daboll, who was on the hot seat from the start of this season, he does not live to see the end of his fourth year as the New York Giants head coach. Guys, he ultimately goes 20, 40, and 1, but doesn't even begin to tell the whole story. Again, yesterday, the Giants were up 10 points in the fourth quarter against the Bears on the road. Weather was bad. Jackson Dart, Giant quarterback, goes out after taking a hit in the second half, and he was out. Russell Wilson looked awful. And they lose the game 24-20 ultimately, Lucas. And Brian Daboll was in the unemployment line this week because he needed to win this year. It didn't happen. And they didn't even want to let him finish it because it was just that ugly.
You want to know what's interesting, Babcock? You know, lately with these firings, they make up this lie that there's a mutual decision, that it's best to go their separate ways. But no, in the statement with the Giants from John Mara and Steve Tisch released a joint statement on this, and they said, we spoke this morning about the direction of our franchise on the field. We have decided at this time it is our best interest to make a change at the head coaching position. The past few seasons have been nothing short of disappointing, and we have not met our expectations for this franchise. We understand the frustrations of our fans, and we will work to deliver a significantly improved product. I mean, if you look at the people who are available for this gig, Babcock, is there anyone who's really standing out?
I don't know. I think
do a better job.
I think it's important. I would want somebody that has some track record in the NFL. The reality is, and Danny's a huge Giants fan. The Giants, they're a proud franchise. They've been to 5 Super Bowls. They've won 4 of them. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years. But things had gotten really ugly there, and I think it's a move that they had to make.
I mean, we're not talking about the kind of like the big cloud still hanging over everything. They kept Joe Schoen.
Right.
I can't think of right now what head coach is going to want to come into the situation when you kind of have a lame duck GM just sitting there at the head position. This was everyone, even though Daboll took the fall right now, everyone in this organization is responsible for how bad it's gone the last 3 years.
Right, yeah. Joe Schoen obviously is the general manager. He was in Buffalo with Brian Daboll. They essentially came in together, although Schoen was hired a couple of weeks before Daboll was. But bottom line, I think a lot of people, I thought, and I know we were talking earlier, we both thought that they would both probably get fired today once Daboll got fired. To hear that not only is Joe Schoen going to keep his job, but that he is going to be essentially running the new head coaching searches, that's a scary, scary thought in my mind, Danny.
I mean, it's a bold proclamation also to make that now when there's still so much time left in the season.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I've learned being a fan of New York Giants, it can get much worse than it is right now. We saw it in 2017 with the McAdoo, Jerry Reese situation. I mean, maybe he clearly has the ear of ownership to be able to convince them that the roster is talented enough that maybe they just need a head coach, and maybe that is the thing.
And I don't say the roster is untalented. They've got some good play. I mean, just offensively, Scadaboo and Jackson Dart have transformed the team. Obviously, Malik Neighbors, one of the best wide receivers in the entire NFL. The problem is all 3 of those guys are now hurt. But I do think they've got some talent on defense as well, especially on the defensive line. But they always find a way to lose. They snatch defeat from the jaws of victory week in, week out. I mean, go back to week 7, being up 18 points in the fourth quarter against the Broncos. The Cowboys game, as brutal as that was, the way they lost that game. And they've had a lifetime of just horrible, horrible losses. And we're 10 weeks only through this season. Bottom line, John Mara, the owner, who is going through a cancer battle right now, so he's got a lot of things going on. But John Mara, he almost fired Brian Daboll last season, and he said, we're not going to be in the same position next season. Obviously, if we are, then we're going to make a change. He never even got to that point. The Giants, just another awful season. Brian Daboll, his tenure started well. They won 9 games the first year. I think they were 9-6-1. They won a playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings, and it's been nothing but downhill since then. They're a bad franchise. They're a bad football team right now, and Mike Kafka is the interim head coach because of it.
off on the slant to St. Brown. He is in for a Lions touchdown.
Mojo, there it was last night. Lion star Amon Ra St. Brown catches a touchdown in the first quarter, and you know President Donald Trump was in the building, and Amon Ra St. Brown took the opportunity to hit the famous Trump dance. Now, this was like the first time since 1978 that a sitting president was at a regular season football game. Remember, Trump went last year to the Super Bowl, so he's been to NFL games before, but this was the first regular season game. So it's something, I say that, Mojo, just to illustrate that it's very rare that you get a president in the house. And I guess Amon Ra St. Brown wasn't going to miss his opportunity. So little Trump dance there.
Here's my question, Babcock. Was this to shout out the president, show him love? Was it to just jab him, just get him a little bit? Was it a dig? I'm not quite sure, because obviously we know the history. Trump has made some comments about the Washington Commanders, potentially a new name. There's some, new name of the stadium. All these things recently, and obviously that's a very relevant situation right now. But if the president is going to attend the game, there is obviously going to be at least one player on either team that is going to reference that in some capacity. I just don't know what he was thinking here, if it was positive or if it was negative, and what's going to come after this. What's Trump's reaction going to be? Publicly is one thing. Privately is another thing. Is this guy's taxes going to be quadrupled next year? Or maybe they just go away entirely. I don't know what's happening, but this did make me laugh. Obviously, everyone was talking about this a bunch. So I don't know, man. What do you think, Babcock?
I am 99.99999% sure that it was positive. It's something that we have seen a lot of athletes do, obviously. We've seen baseball players, we've seen other football players do it, not necessarily in front of Trump, but I think that was positive. Not to say everything was positive at the game, Mojo, because and go to the TMZ Sports website if you want to see the video of this, but Trump got booed pretty badly. There was a lot of boos. There was a heavy amount of people who were booing in the stadium last night. The reality is that Washington, D.C., maybe outside of San Francisco, is the most liberal or the most left-leaning city in the entire country. So no shocker that Trump would get booed in D.C. But boy, did they let him have it. While he may not be fighting Jake Paul, there's an opponent that Francis Ngannou does have in mind that he says would be the biggest UFC fight ever. The Predator explains when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Babcock here. And Lucas, so this June 14th White House card is getting closer by the day. Dana White has promised that this thing is going to be the biggest card that he has ever put on. There's a fight that we have not seen, Lucas. It is Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou. I think you go all the way back. It must have been 2021. There was nonstop talk about this fight. It was the fight that all UFC fans wanted to see above every other fight, but it did not happen. Ultimately, Ngannou ends up leaving the UFC. He and Dana White do not like each other. And that's kind of where we are right now. But, again, going back to the White House, Dana has said he wants this to be as good as it can possibly be. So, might that mean Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou finally fight? Well, we were speaking with Francis Ngannou recently. A lot of people have said, okay, maybe it's Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira who fight at the White House. We asked Ngannou, hey, is that the fight to make, or is you versus Jon Jones actually the bigger event?
This fight of all time can only happen with Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou. That's all what I can say about that. No disrespect for other fights or for other fighters. I think I respect all the fight and all the fighters, regardless of if they fight the main card or prelim or whatever or wherever. I think great fights still happen everywhere. I became a weight champion in the Apex, so with no crowd. So I respect fight as long as it's a fight. People putting in it's not about the place, but if you want to say biggest of all time, you make it biggest.
So there would be, I don't know, be the main event, but Jon Jones, Francis Ngannou at the White House on June 14th, president watching, White House in the background. Sounds pretty damn good to me.
Yeah, how do we make this happen? That's all I really care about. I know Jon Jones is retired and Francis is not even with the promotion anymore, but you just have to figure that maybe this could be like a one-off thing to where everyone who is involved can agree that this has to happen at the White House on a huge night like this. This is the fight that everyone wanted to see. You talk about like Conor and Michael Chandler, that is like 5% in hype compared to what Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou would be. There's just so many hoops that you have to jump through. But if we're being completely honest, I believe in Dana White being able to make this happen. Talk to PFL, talk to whoever you need to do, and make everyone get along for one night.
The question, guys, is does Dana White like the idea of making a massive amount of money and putting on one of the greatest events ever more than he hates Francis Ngannou and vice versa? I think that's ultimately the question, because if they could all decide that we want this to happen, I think they could make it happen, Mojo. But again, these guys, Francis and Dana, despise each other. They really do.
Yeah, I think that conversation starts and ends with Dana, right? Because you obviously have the Francis Ngannou situation, but you also have the PFL situation, and I'm not entirely sure which one of those is a bigger constraint, right? The PFL is a competitor to the UFC. UFC has been king in MMA for years. They might not want to work with the PFL whatsoever. I believe the PFL has on record said they would love to work together and figure out a way to make this happen. I mean, financially, there is enough money involved in this fight to go around to all parties and make everyone happen here. So I don't know. I feel like for Dana, that maybe is the bigger hiccup than figuring things out with Francis Ngannou, because at the end of the day, maybe you're Dana White, maybe you think Jon Jones is gonna knock Francis Ngannou's ass out, and then my goodness, are you happy at the end of the day? I mean, that's gotta be best case scenario for this money, by making money and profiting off of an arch rival getting his ass kicked. I mean, that's like Dana White 101 to me, if you're asking me. So I mean, I don't know. All I do know, though, is that if this fight doesn't happen at the White House, I mean, we're running out of time for this thing. Jon Jones has pretty much said before he was done, he's back. Who knows where he's at now? Who definitely knows how much time he has left. Francis Ngannou, since he's left for the PFL, has not fought much at all. He fought, Ferreira over there at PFL, who was their top guy, and just absolutely annihilated him. They're desperate to find someone to take him on. They haven't been able to do so just yet. Of course, Ngannou also had the boxing fight, which definitely didn't go his way. You also got concerns for future knockouts after how bad he got dropped in that one. Ask any big fighter, the first time you go down like that, it is so much easier to have it happen again. So that just opened him up. Jon Jones has never had a hit like that. So I don't know. These guys might be running out of time. I think it's now or never. The White House makes all the sense in the world. So these guys better get ready, find a way to get it done. And if it does, Babcock, if you're asking me, that is 1,000% your main event. I can't think of another fight out there that would be bigger than this.
To your point, Mojo, about them running out of time, Francis Ngannou's 39 years old, Jon Jones 38 years old. As great as these two guys are, the one guy who is undefeated is Father Time. So yeah, it's about now or never time. I will say this, Dana White obviously would be the guy that would have to make this fight. We're going to talk to Dana White tomorrow. We'll ask him this very question. Is it possible to make this thing happen? What's the UFC honcho say tomorrow? Up next, Cardi B loses it after Stefon Diggs scores a touchdown in the win over the Bucks. The hilarious footage is coming your way next on TMZ Sports.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Lucas Widman here. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs are still going strong, and they have a lot to celebrate on and off the field just 1 week after we saw Cardi really turn herself into an NFL wag. There's a lot to celebrate, especially with the highlight that a lot of people are talking about, given how she reacted to her new boyfriend's big touchdown in a massive win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh my God, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. The fuck I'm talking about. Bring it home. Bring it home. Bring it home. Titty Jake. Titty Jake. The bring it home for the kids. That's what I'm talking about. Bring that home. Bring it home. Talk about that Titty Jakes.
You have to love Cardi B, but this was a very important part of the game. You know, they were going up 14-10 over the Buccaneers, and that train keeps rolling in Foxborough right now. Look out for the Patriots. They are now 8-2. They've won 7 in a row. Mojo, I think Cardi B happens to be Stefon Diggs' good luck charm. He had a good game for fantasy owners. He had 5 catches, 46 yards, and a touchdown. What do you make of how Cardi B reacted to that awesome moment in the game yesterday?
Hey, man, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and that's what happened, and that is what Cardi B's man delivered in a big-time game. I mean, look, these two teams are probably going to make some fairly deep playoff runs, right? They have been atop their conferences, showing out. Still a little bit more surprising on the New England side than the Tampa Bay side, I would say, considering the Patriots have had some down years recently, ever since Tom Brady shipped up and left town to Tampa Bay, mind you, which is always a fun matchup. But they've had a rough stretch since then. But New England looking fantastic. And Stefon Diggs, that is one guy right there that can take a lot of credit for this transformation. So, yeah, Cardi B's going to be hyped up about this. She knows the implications. She's with her, man. She hears him talk about what's important and where the team's headed and how a matchup is going to be, you know, perceived in the league. So, I mean, this was a big one. So she was celebrating. It was hilarious. I don't quite understand everything that she said, probably because half of it was bleeped out. I'm guessing she's home. I'm not sure why she was holding her voice down so much, not airing it out a little bit. But either way, this was a great video. And yeah, I guess I gotta hope the Patriots keep winning, because as the antes are up, if her celebrations keep on the uptick, what's gonna happen when this team goes to the Super Bowl, potentially wins a Super Bowl? What is Cardi B gonna do then? We're all gonna have to stay tuned to find out. But now we all have an incentive, an extra incentive for these Patriots wins.
Mojo, you talk about the Patriots like they're the Browns. They had 4 bad seasons without Tom Brady, and now they're back to being good again. I think they could have deserved at least maybe 7 or 8 more and really felt the misery of a bad football franchise. But either way, good for them. Cardi deciding to go, a little more low-key this time. Last time she was with Robert Kraft in the suite. But either way, at home or actually at the stadium, she's going to be his #1 cheerleader.
Coming up next on TMZ Sports, Chargers star Keenan Allen makes history in Los Angeles. We will show you the record-breaking moment next on TMZ Sports.
Where can you see huge stars in Hollywood? No, not the planetarium, that's for nerds. We mean the TMZ Celebrity Tour, where we've seen huge stars like Kevin Hart, Rihanna, Ben Affleck, The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, Lizzo, Lady Gaga, Ryan Seacrest, and Jamie Foxx. You'll learn the secrets of the city and see Hollywood as only TMZ can show you. Buses depart daily from the Hard Rock Cafe in Hollywood, so head to TMZTour.com and book your tickets for the TMZ Celebrity Tour.
Build and the style with which they're trying to build. That's a pop pass to Allen that sets the record for the most receptions in Chargers history. So on a pop pass on first down, Keenan Allen now has the mark, passing Antonio Gates for the most receptions in Chargers history.
There it was, history being made for the Los Angeles Chargers. I would have liked if it was like a bomb, but it was a short pass, but nonetheless it counts. And Keenan Allen, of course, the great Chargers wide receiver is now I guess got more receptions than anybody ever in the history of that franchise. He passes the great Antonio Gates. By the way, the Chargers, I guess more importantly, probably win the game 25-10 over the Steelers. The Chargers, they were beating up Aaron Rodgers, and they get the win at home. Now, Keenan Allen not the only one that was celebrating, because on Saturday night, the cast of Love and Hip Hop took over the TMZ After Dark Tour. This may be my favorite one because we didn't have just one bus. We had two buses out there. Of course, this was fueled by Monster Energy. Now, Rockstar hosted one bus. Mr. Ray hosted the other bus. They actually sort of held like a hip-hop off where the dueling buses were on Sunset Boulevard to see which bus was more lit. Now, the guys had so much fun. It looked like everybody on the bus had fun. Every bar in Hollywood now wants to get involved in this TMZ After Dark Tour. In fact, we added 2 new bars this week. Beaches WeHo and Powerhouse in Hollywood, 2 great spots. It was the best party for sure. Be sure to go to monsterenergy.com to see what they've got going on. And check out tmztour.com to learn more about how you can be part of all of the fun. All right, guys, we are just about out of time. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, tomorrow we're actually going to have Dana White on the show. We're going to ask him that very question. Francis thinks he versus John Jones, biggest fight ever. Does Dana White agree? We'll ask him that. I got to go. I'm going to go eat this pizza now. Bye.
I'm a lawyer.